Hello, this is lecture number 5 in your writing course 13013, and as you know, my name is Lubna Abdaltawab Yusuf. Our focus in writing today will be my interesting friend. Now, in order to start dealing with this focus, as we always do, we have a table of contents. And the table of contents introduces the different points that we are going to be dealing with in order to see what we're going to discuss. Now, on the table of contents, you can see that we need definitions, we need to discuss topic sentences, and as you know, a topic sentence has to have 3 controlling ideas that you are going to deal with in the paragraph. You're going to look at unusual suggestions of interesting friends, and then more suggestions of what an interesting friend can be, how you can develop the controlling ideas by providing evidence, support, and analysis. And then we are going to have a sample paragraph that we will read together. Now, this is only a sample paragraph. You do not learn anything off by heart, but this shows you how you can write, how you can develop your own ideas. And in the end, when you write about an interesting friend, this has to be your interesting friend, not mine, not anyone else's. Now, the steps to write about an interesting friend are 5. The first step is to define the word interesting and the word friend. Now, if you are asked to write about a friend without the use of the adjective interesting, you will simply discuss friendship and what a friend means to you, and how a friend is a person that you can rely on and that you can trust. But the word interesting adds something to what you're supposed to think about and the choice you make. Now, when you make a choice, you have to introduce your reader to the reason for your choice. Now, I have a quotation on this slide from Shakespeare. And of course, being students of English literature, you know who Shakespeare is. He wrote Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, and a lot of other plays, but he also wrote sonnets. Sonnets are 14-line poems. Now, this is a quotation from sonnet number 30, and this quotation comes at the end of the sonnet. Now, in this sonnet, he describes how unhappy he is, how miserable, how many problems he has in life. But at the end of the sonnet, he says, "But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored and sorrows end." So this is the point of view of Shakespeare, that a friend can change a person's mood. If you are unhappy, if you are in grief, if you are angry, and you see your friend or you talk to your friend, you feel that the world is a better place. You feel that the problems of the world are not as horrible as you might imagine. Now, the following quotation is one that we all know, a friend in need is a friend indeed. So when you need your friend, if your friend does not support you, does not help you, does not come to your assistance, then this person is not your friend. So at the end of the slide, I tell you that it is important to distinguish between a friend and a colleague. A colleague is someone you meet at work, but with a colleague, you do not discuss your private life or your feelings or your inner thoughts, all right? So when you introduce a definition, sometimes you explain to your reader what this term does not mean. So a friend does not mean a colleague. A colleague is not a friend. Now, here are suggestions of ideas for an interesting friend. And the writer here initially says, from experience, it is important to state that having a friend is a blessing, all right? Meaning it is a gift from God. But having an interesting friend is more of a blessing and more of a gift from God. And therefore, if an interesting friend is a gift from God, you really have to protect this friendship. Now, someone can write about my interesting friend and make the claim, make the suggestion, introduce the point of view that the choice is that this interesting friend is not my best friend, all right? So here the writer is making a distinction between an interesting friend and a best friend. Now, why am I introducing you to these suggestions? Because I want you to know that when you write, you have to introduce your reader to an idea that is different, an idea that might not have occurred to the reader, an idea that the reader might not have thought about. This makes your piece of writing better than usual. Now, here is another suggestion. Nowadays, there are different ways to acquire friends. So here, the writer is going to write not simply about having a friend, but how one acquires a friend. Namely, you can acquire a friend in real life, and you can acquire a friend online. Now, online, one has to be very careful because people can deceive you online. They can tell you qualities about their identity, but these qualities do not necessarily need to be true because people lie. Now, let me read the sentence again. Nowadays, there are different ways to acquire friends, namely in real life and online. And the following sentence provides an explanation that having online friends was not possible before Facebook. This is why I will identify an interesting friend from real life and another who is a virtual friend, a friend online. So here the writer introduces an idea that is different and therefore it catches the attention of the reader. My interesting friend is one I met through Twitter, all right? So here there's another way to introduce a friend you acquire online. It is true that this is an unusual way to meet a friend, but this is how I met Mr. Raisam. He is a dedicated creative writer, a charming speaker, a good citizen, and a caring human being. Now, what does this sentence do? After making a choice and introducing the interesting friend, the writer provides a topic sentence that introduces not 3 controlling ideas, but 4. Now, this interesting friend, Mr. Rassam, is interesting because he is a dedicated creative writer, a charming speaker, a good citizen, and a caring human being. Now, what is the writer going to do in the rest of the paragraph? The writer is going to provide evidence of how Mr. Rassam is a dedicated creative writer, support that Mr. Rassam is a charming speaker, evidence and analysis that Mr. Rassam is a good citizen, and evidence and support that this interesting friend is a caring human being. Now, here are more suggestions. The writer of a good book is my interesting friend because this writer talks to me, can be with me anytime I need him or her, shares his experience and knowledge with me, and helps me in improving my life. Now, let's count how many controlling ideas this topic sentence has. The writer starts by identifying the interesting friend is the writer of a good book. All right? Now, why is this writer an interesting friend? Because number 1, this writer talks to me. All right? So this writer, he or she, gives me the experiences of his life. Number 2, this writer can be with me anytime I need him, all right? Because a book is your companion and you can read the book whenever you are free. So this is number 2. Number 3, shares his experience and knowledge with me. So this interesting book and the writer of this book has experience and knowledge that they impart, that they give to the reader. And therefore, this person, from the point of view of this writer, is regarded as a friend and helps me in improving my life. This is number 4 or 5. Let's count again. The writer talks to me. Number 1, can help me anytime. Number 2, shares his experience and knowledge. Number 3, helps me in improving my life. Number 4. Now, another possible suggestion. Friends can play a significant role in the lives of one another. They can either lead one astray or to the right path, meaning friends can have a good impact on you, or they can have a bad impact on you. So those who have a bad impact on me are not interesting friends. My friend Ahmed is interesting because his problems in life teach me the value of endurance, perseverance, and hope. So this is a very interesting topic sentence. Now, in this topic sentence, the writer has identified the name of his interesting friend, Mr. Ahmed, and evidence and support why Ahmed is an interesting friend. Number 1, because his problems in life teach me the value of endurance. Number 2, teach me the value of perseverance. Number 3, give me hope. Another suggestion. My friend Amin is trustworthy, spreads positive energy, and is a gift from God. Now, here the writer has identified the name of his friend, Amin, and the evidence and support. Number one, Amin is trustworthy, meaning he does not lie, he does not give me bad advice, he supports me when I need him. All right, he spreads positive energy, meaning he is hopeful, he is one with a good spirit, he is not angry and he doesn't shout and he's not rude. And in the end, he is a gift from God. This is another important point. The writer will provide evidence how his friend is a gift from God. Now, let's move on to the following slide. The idea that you can acquire a friend through Facebook, through Twitter, through blogs, through Skype, through WhatsApp, through Instagram, through Viber, and the future might provide other options. I have met the interesting friend I will write about through Twitter. And then the writer needs to provide 3 controlling ideas why this friend that has been acquired through Twitter is an interesting friend. My sister Hela is my best friend. And this is interesting because sisters generally fight, especially when they are young, because of the competition for attention. So this writer introduces an unusual, interesting friend, one's sister. And the point made here is that sisters fight because they have competition over the attention of their parents. Now, what is also interesting is, although she is my younger sister, she helps me with advice when I need it. She supports me when I have a problem with our brother or our parents, and she has a great sense of humor. So here the writer introduces a very unusual point, an unusual choice, a sister as a friend, and provides excellent evidence and support. She is the younger sister, but she is wise. She gives her older sister advice. She helps and supports her sister when she has a problem, and she has a sense of humor. So, دمها خفيف. Okay, why is this an important point? Because sometimes when a person is unhappy or tense, having a sense of humor can help overcome the tension. Now, here is another suggestion. I have an interesting friend who lends me a hand when I need it, supports me when I am loaded and overwhelmed, listens attentively when I am depressed, and we have fun together in happy times. Now, here again, we have 4 controlling ideas, all right? And each controlling idea shows that the writer is thinking clearly and is introducing ideas that show that the reader will want to find out how this interesting friend can be of help when the person is loaded. Loaded means when the person has a lot of work to do, or when the person is overwhelmed. The word overwhelmed is a very useful word because nowadays in the coronavirus pandemic, we are all overwhelmed with what is happening, with the news, with people getting sick, with Ramadan, with a lot of issues that are happening not only at home, but outside the home, and not only in Egypt, but outside Egypt. Now, here is a sample paragraph of an interesting friend, and I am introducing you to a sample paragraph not because this is a model, all right? You cannot learn it off by heart, but we're going to read it together to see how a writer can develop ideas, how a writer can provide evidence and support, and how the writer can provide analysis. Friendship is a relationship that has to be taken seriously by the two or more friends involved in this relationship. Now, this writer wants to tell the reader that friendship cannot be taken lightly, that when you have a friend, you have to give your friend time, effort, energy, sincere advice. You have to trust your friend, and your friend has to trust you. So this is a good idea. Now, when we're looking at a paragraph, we're looking at the form, and we're also looking at the content. We're looking at the ideas of the paragraph, which is the content, and we're looking at how these ideas are organized one sentence after the other, how the writer uses full stops, how the writer is interesting and introduces the reader to ideas that the reader might not know. And therefore, reading a paragraph can be a good experience. Now, the second sentence. A friend is not simply a companion, an acquaintance, or someone a person is familiar with. So after introducing the idea that friendship has to be taken seriously, this writer introduces the idea that a friend is not simply a companion, meaning this definition is in the negative, all right? So a friend can be a companion, can be acquaintance, can be someone a person is familiar with, but more than a companion, more than an acquaintance, and more than someone who a person is familiar with. Now, following this sentence, the writer has a new sentence, sentence number 3. A companion might be someone who is only good company. All right, so here's a definition of a companion, all right, to make a distinction between a companion and a good friend, all right? So a companion is someone you enjoy their company, you have fun with, you go to the cinema with, but it does not necessarily mean that you regard this companion as your friend, okay? Because having a friend means more than good company. The second part of the sentence says, an acquaintance is a person one knows, but not well. So here is a definition of an acquaintance, all right? It is someone you know, but you don't know that person very well, all right? Now, the third point, the writer mentioned in sentence number 2 is a friend is not someone you're familiar with. And in this third sentence, the writer gives us a definition of what to be familiar with someone means, all right? People who are familiar with one another simply recognize each other, but do not know a good deal about each other's qualities, habits, and families. So if you have a friend, you have to know about their qualities, about their habits, and about their families. The following sentence, sentence number 4. This is why it is important to indicate that in a friendship there is mutual knowledge about character and family, a bond and trust. Okay, so this writer is going to discuss mutual knowledge. So you have to know about one another. You have to know about one another's characters. You have to know about one another's families, and you have to have a bond, and you have to trust each other. Now, the writer says in the following sentence, I have known my friend Hanan for more than 50 years. So I know her parents, her children, and her grandchildren. So the writer has introduced a choice of a friend and has provided evidence that this friendship goes back a long way, and that the writer knows about the friend's family, past and present. Although we do not work together, she is interesting because she is an inspiring engineer. She is trustworthy as a friend, and I love her. Okay, so the writer here introduces the profession of Hanan and the fact that Hanan is trustworthy, and the fact that the writer loves her friend. Although I do not meet her often because we are both busy, we talk on the phone, get in touch via Facebook and WhatsApp, and we meet on happy and sad occasions, all right? So this is evidence that although the friends might not meet physically every day because they have jobs, because they are busy, they communicate with each other in different ways. Throughout our lives together, we have helped each other, enjoyed traveling together, and supported one another in times of need. So this is evidence that the friend is a good companion, all right? There is traveling and there is joy together, all right? And there is also support in time of need, all right? Meaning if she has a problem, I support her. If I have a problem, she supports me. I learn from the engineering products that she works on, and she benefits from my teaching experience when her children needed assistance, all right? And therefore, here is evidence that the exchange of knowledge is mutual. I cherish the bond between us. And this is the concluding sentence that shows that friendship involves a bond, involves a relationship that lasts forever. Now, I hope you can do your homework by listening to this lecture again and by identifying an interesting friend and introducing a paragraph that will be captivating and enjoyable for your teacher to read, and also for your classmates if they read this paragraph. Stay well, take care,